I chose to do my presentation on agritech software from Ovitech, in particular Ovitech for goats and sheep. It was the one that probably most interested me. It's one of those that I actually raise and raise goats and run a goat operation. So for me, the Ovitech kind of jumped out as something that on my farm I could probably use, and so I kind of had a little bit of interest there. So went ahead and that's what I decided to do my presentation on was the Agritech software, in particular the Ovitech for goats and sheep. So the company itself offers four different software options from Agritech. They got Porcitech, which is swine, Vacotech, which was beef and dairy and farm management. Ovitech's the one which I chose, which is sheep and the goats. And Acunitech, which is going to be more for rabbits and chinchilla farming. But obviously, I chose to concentrate on Ovitech. I actually did a little research on the beef side of things too, because I have a small beef operation. And I thought it was pretty neat. So, what is Ovitech in general? Ovitech is a software system used to assist farmers in making educated choices and managing their sheep and goat herds. We all know the importance of record keeping, and that's kind of what their company's founded on. The goal is to optimize the performance of your farm and increase profitability through the better use of records. You're able to either keep records based on semen, individual records, growing records, feeding records, financial records, and medical records. And it can all be stored on the cloud, which I thought was pretty neat. For me, myself, the breeding records and just the feed records, keeping up with all that coming income tax time can be a challenge. And I felt like that was a great option that Ovitech offered. The features, there's 130 reports available because you can analyze data like you never have before. Sophisticated records and report designs, man, it's pretty neat. I was kind of looking through some of the things they do. You can add formulas, you can do QR codes if that's your thing. You can do custom printouts. So there's a lot of different options for an Overtech. Allows you to explore and understand the data generated by all your farms in one place. You can detect trends if you've got multiple farms and kind of highlight areas. But for the multi-farm deal, you can compare and consolidate farms. You got custom dashboards, benchmarking, on-farm reporting, direct access for advisors and vets. So you can have your vet to be, or your advisors to be looking at this without actually being at the farm. And they've got their own access rights, which I thought was a huge feature that Overtech and Agritech offered. You can email them reports and keep up with it. I just see major benefits for that. Equipment needed, there's a couple of different options when using Ovitech. There's a desktop and a mobile version. Obviously, the desktop, you can use a single computer or you can get it networked if you have a network to set up. It offers fast, easy entry. It's compatible with Mac, Windows. So both of those are available. With the mobile version, obviously, it works with the Android and the Apple software. It's easily installed, works offline. The Wi-Fi is only needed for syncing, which I think is a big deal because not in all farms will you be able to have service. Data can be synced between members of your team. And one thing I found that I thought was pretty important is it does have comprehensive privacy to ensure the protection of your privacy. It's pretty good, and I think that's very important. The four options, I'm going to come back to this a little bit in a minute. You have the free record, which I have found on the animal records and planning reports. The free does not offer a whole lot. I don't think there's a lot to be used there for the free. There's just not a lot of stuff there. You've got the enterprise versions. You've got all the free features, but you can start running reports. You can do feed formulations. You can transfer animals. It's Excel and PDF compatible, which is a huge deal to me. And you can do the multi-farm feature. The online and the ultimate options are pretty much the same thing. You have all the options for the free and the enterprise, obviously, but it does store it on the cloud, which to me is a big deal. It's going to keep it backed up. You have mobile and web services. It does add a genetic integration and automatic reporting. The only difference in the Ultima is it does offer some use for the remote users. So my overall thoughts, I kind of looked at this. If it was my farm, and what I kind of thought was, what would you do in terms of record keeping it? I feel like it offers a huge upside for a producer to be able to keep accurate records, and the organization itself is pretty awesome. I looked up on boargoats.com. It says we'll make it possible for you to analyze your breeding herd performance in a totally new way. And I thought that was pretty new. The producers themselves that raise goats felt like that it would offer a lot of different ways to look at your stuff. Multifunction is an awesome tool for operations with more than one worker. I like the tech support options that they have. I like the overall eye appeal and the user friendliness of the program. I thought all of those were very important. There were some cons, and I think the most important one, I kind of done some research too. I think the cost is pretty prohibitive, $500 a year. I feel like that's pretty expensive for what they offer, but that's one of those things. I kind of go back and forth. The record keeping is so important, and I do think there's going to be a learning curve. I think that any producer that's never used this software is probably going to have a little bit of a learning curve. Kind of my final thought. I've done a lot of research on these record keeping systems. One of the first steps to becoming a successful farm manager is keeping well maintained, accurate records that we can establish a sound record keeping, and it definitely offers that. My citations are there, so I feel like there's definitely a lot that can be used there.